Good afternoon and welcome back to Break the Glass. My name is Zinab and I'm really excited to be hosting today's instalment of Break the Glass. The foundation aims to support young people throughout education, encourage positive integration and facilitate interfaith relations. We do this via our diversity program, the Naz Bukhari program and interfaith gatherings. Information on all our programs can be found on our website, nazlegacy.org. This series is brought to you by Rising Girl and Naz Legacy Foundation.
Okay, so I just wanted to quickly introduce myself. My name's Rifat. I'm one of the trustees of Rising Girl, and I wanted to give you a brief introduction into Rising Girl and its work. Throughout this series, we've been hearing from amazing people who have been trailblazers in their field. Some have faced abuse, some have faced prejudice and challenged discrimination through their lives. We will be running these powerful talks throughout every week throughout the summer, and the video installments can be viewed from Naz's page and the Rising Girl Facebook page.
Please feel free to tweet about today's session using the hashtag #BreakTheGlass, tagging Rising Girl and Naz Legacy. Please submit questions through the Q&A box and the chat box will remain open throughout the session. Today, we are super excited to be joined by a young girl who has overcome adversity to become one of the favourites to win Britain's Got Talent this year. We can't wait to hear her brave story and how she'll be singing live today for us as well. We're honoured to welcome Sirine.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi Sirine, lovely to meet you.
So nice to meet you too. I think it's disconnecting. Should I start now?
Yes, Sirine.
Okay, so I'll start by saying that, hi, my name is Sirine and I'm 15 years old. So I've been asked to talk about my life, and honestly, before I came on this, I was unsure of what to talk about because I've led a very unspectacular life because of how short my life has been. I mean, I'm only 15, I'm not like 60 or anything, so I've gone through challenges throughout my life, but at the same time, those challenges have made me who I am right now, and I'm going to talk about those challenges and also the good parts because honestly my life has been made up of more good parts than challenges. So as I said, I'm 15, my name is Sirine, and thinking back on my life, I have had so many memories of, I've lived a very fortunate, I've had a very fortunate upbringing. And it starts with me, I've got two brothers, and we would go to Disney World, I have so many memories with my cousins, my friends, my brothers, my family, and I'm very fortunate for all of that. And I think my story starts when I was 5. I was at school and the teacher called my parents and they said that I couldn't see the board. And obviously at 5, I didn't think about that, and I just thought, oh, I can't see the board. Honestly, I actually can't even remember it. That's what my parents have told me. And we went to Morocco for holiday, and when we went there, we went to see an optician because I think I was wearing some pirate outfit or something, and I had a patch over my eye, and then I started bumping into things, and the doctor said that it was nothing to worry about, and that that I should go back to England and get more testings. So we came back, and it kind of started from there. from a young age, I traveled all around the world trying to find cures for my blindness because what the doctors said was not true, and I was losing my sight quite quickly, actually, over the course of 5 years, until the age of 10. But before I talk about 10, because honestly, I think 10 is where my life kind of changed, and when I kind of realized that I was blind and I couldn't do as much as I could have had I had sight. And so at 5, I was obsessed with princesses. I was obsessed with pink makeup. I was like your typical. Actually, no, I wasn't typical. I was just over dramatic with all the pink, all the princesses and everything. And the reason I mention that is because I have very, very fond memories of all of these things. I think also as a child, I took for granted that I had sight. I was actually a child who, I would use my sight, but I wouldn't think that it's something that I relied on until later on in my life. And I remember what everything looks like. Especially, like I mentioned, Disney World. My parents used to take me. I could go on a ride and I'd tell you what is going to happen because I remember it so well. And in year 4, so I think when I was 7 or 8, I think that's when I started having to travel around the world. And my parents, they didn't know that I was going to become fully blind because all the doctors said that I wouldn't. They said that it would eventually stop and it would slow down and I would still have a bit of sight. And I think we didn't know what was the cause of my blindness whatsoever. Doctors had no clue. And so yeah, we went around the world, we traveled around the world. I had to take so many injections and now I'm terrified of injections because of that. But yeah, I'd have to miss like a few months of school at a time, and I'd have to go into operations and everything just to get my sight back. And it kind of came to the point where my parents had tried everything and there was no cure, and it was obvious that there was no cure because my sight was just getting worse despite all the operations and everything. Because my dad would, when we went on holiday and everything, he would, teach us and everything. He would teach us math and English and subjects because we obviously weren't at school. And what he noticed was even within days, I was starting to see less and less and less. And I also was, I guess I wasn't a gamer, but I did play a lot of games on my iPad, on my Nintendo, and I was finding it harder to do it. And then 10 years old hit, and I realized that I couldn't see anymore. The reason I say that I realized I couldn't see anymore was because over the years, I don't know if it's like that for everyone, but when you're a child, you don't actually think about the problems in your life. You just think it's normal because you don't know what's normal and you don't know what's not normal. So as a child, I didn't know that not seeing was not normal. And so 10 hit and I couldn't see anymore. Well, yeah, 10, 11. And I had to start learning how to adapt, how to live my life without any sight. And I'm not gonna say it was traumatic because it wasn't, and I'm not gonna pretend like, oh my gosh, I've had such a horrible childhood, because honestly, I wouldn't change it. It was amazing. I love everything, and my parents have been so supportive. They still are, and everyone in my life has been supportive. School was extremely, extremely, extremely hard though. I had to learn all the different things. I had to learn how to live my life without sight. So I guess I could see that in a good light because I can both live my life with sight and without sight. But at 10 or 11, I started focusing more on music, whereas as a child, I'd focus more on dancing. I loved dancing as a child. I loved it. I did ballet, street dancing, and everything. one thing that I forgot to mention about my childhood is also that I was actually quite a bossy person. I was quite spoiled as a child, and it kind of brings me back to the point of how I took my sight for granted, and I didn't appreciate much in life as a child. But of course, not many children do. But I feel like it was quite excessive. I was like, I wouldn't say I was mean, but I wasn't exactly a perfect child. I was very talkative, very, very, very talkative. I still am. And yeah, so I started to focus more on music at 10 or 11. And I was actually writing songs at 7 about best friends, and it was like, best friends, best friends. It was very cringe. And I'd write songs about unicorns, princesses, everything. And then later on, I started writing songs about things that meant more to me and things that would describe how I felt about life. And it was honestly kind of like a therapy, because I feel like it's hard to say how you feel, because you can say so much with words, but I feel like with music, like if you hear a song, it'll bring you back, it'll bring you back to the good times or the bad times. And I felt like with music, it kind of just described how I felt. And I'm so, so lucky that I found a passion, because it helped so much. It really did. I'm not saying that because I'm not saying that because I feel like people would think, oh, she lost her sight, she found her passion in music. I think music was always inbuilt in me, because as a child I was dancing, and then later on I started singing, and at 12 I started taking singing lessons. And 3 years later, where I am right now, I'm 15, I'm singing on VGT, and I never, ever, 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 ever thought I'd be singing on VGT. I have a video of me on YouTube singing at 8. I'd never had a singing lesson at the time, and I was singing Jar of Hearts, and I sound so different back then. It is so crazy to hear myself. But yeah, and honestly, I'm still going through a journey, because only 2 weeks ago, seriously 2 weeks ago, I found out why I became blind. And for the past 10 years of my life, my parents, doctors never knew why I'd become blind, because I was experiencing headaches, and I had to go to the doctor for MRIs, and they looked more at my optic nerve, because my optic nerve is the reason why I became blind. So there's nothing wrong with my eyes, it's my optic nerve. And the reason I became blind, they found out, is because I have a growth in my brain which kind of like squeezed my optic nerve and caused it to deteriorate. And what I feel like I should mention, just so people understand how appreciative I am at this moment, is that at the age of 5 is when doctors were saying, oh, she won't be blind, etc. And I did take an MRI at 5, because the cause of my blindness could have been anything. It could have been a tumor, and my parents didn't know, so I had to take an MRI. And had they found the growth in my brain at that time, they could have stopped it, and I wouldn't be blind. But I feel like I need to mention that I think I'm happy that they didn't find it. I'm honestly happy they didn't, because as I said, I was a bossy child, and I feel like I would have continued that. I would have been quite a weird teenager, and I'm doing so much at 15 that I never thought I would. Throughout my life, I thought I wouldn't amount to anything. I felt, especially last year, I was going through probably the hardest time of my life, because I remember just every day kind of merged into one. And it was you have those days or those months or those weeks where you just feel so down and so so useless, and that's how I felt last year. And my parents helped me through it. It was such a hard time, because I felt that I was different, and I felt very, 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 very useless, because I thought that with my blindness, I felt like it held me back. I was a very happy child, still am. I'm very happy, always smiling, always laughing. But last year it was really hard to smile and really hard to laugh, and I'd have to fake it because I wouldn't want to make anyone else upset or make anyone else feel uncomfortable. So I'd fake it a lot, and um, I finally told my parents that I was feeling this way after months and months of not telling them. And I remember sitting down, and my dad and my mom were kind of talking to me for 2 hours, and they were telling me that I wasn't useless and that something someday in the future will happen. They don't know when and they don't know how or in what form, but it will happen. And strangely enough, that same week, BGT got into contact with us, and they said that I got through to the live shows. And if I'm being honest, I did not rehearse whatsoever for the live shows because I didn't think I'd get that far or anything. I definitely did not think that I'd get into the semifinals. I kind of just did it because I wanted to feel less useless and less like I couldn't do anything. And the reason I love music so much is because it doesn't limit me. It doesn't limit me in any way. I don't need sight to sing. I don't need sight to play the piano. I don't need sight to play the guitar. My soul is what I put into my music. In all my songs, I have to sing with my heart. I sing with my heart, and so many times when I sing, I just start crying because music does mean a lot to me. And yeah, so I've put myself out there, and I'm so happy I have. I've come out of that. I've come out the other side, and I'm happier than I've ever been because of all these opportunities. And I mean, talking on Rising Girl is incredible. Like, when on earth did I think? Like, when in my life did I ever think that I'd be talking on Rising Girl? When in my life did I ever think that I'd be singing on VGT or any of these things? And I want to make a point and say that I am a regular 15-year-old. I have no sight, but I am still a regular 15-year-old who's had amazing opportunities throughout my life. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm actually so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything that's happened to me. I'm so grateful for the fact that I don't have sight, because had I not lost my sight, then I wouldn't be who I am. And that sounds so like, oh my God, it sounds cheesy to me, but I keep saying I was a bossy child and I would have continued that, and my parents were worried that I would have continued that. Like, I don't know what I'd be doing right now. Maybe I'd be clubbing or something, I don't know. But I'm not doing that now. I'm doing everything I can to make myself happy, make other people happy, and I do a lot to kind of not make myself feel to make myself feel more worth it, because I do feel worth it, and I love who I've become. And people are gonna ask me, what do I regret in my life? And I don't regret any moment of it. I'm happy for everything that's happened, and I'm still gonna. I have my off days, and I have my up days. Sometimes I feel so good, and sometimes I feel so bad about myself. But everyone has that. If no one has them, then they're not human. But I think that's it. I don't really know what else to say. I think that was, as I said, I've only lived for 15 years. Maybe hopefully I'll have more to say next 30 years, but for now that's my life, and those are the struggles and also the good parts that's happened throughout my life.
Thank you, Sirine. That was a really interesting recollection of your journey. And I think what I liked best about that is you really conveyed your learnings through your experience. And you sound so humble, and I love how you're really honest, Sirine. And I think whatever happens to us in life, I think where you can take the bad parts of life or what's happened that you may not have wanted to happen and turn it into a positive and use it to motivate you. I think that's amazing. And given your young age, you kept talking about you're only 15, you've only got 15 years of experience. I think you've done incredibly well to use your experience to propel you forward. And I'm so happy that you've got this passion that you you're enjoying. So we want to hear more about you, and thank you so much for sharing so far. And we're going to pass you over to Em, who's going to ask you some questions from people who are listening to your story today.
Okay, great.
Hello, Sirine.
Hi.
That was really inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just think that your journey has probably inspired so many young people, especially because not everybody would have gone through something so devastating as to lose their eyesight, but obviously a lot of people would have had many challenges in their life. So have you even thought about, or maybe through your school network, about mentoring other people? Because you've actually come out and you're a shining star, and there'll be people going through so much. So are you almost like a mentor, or like the most popular girl in school now?
No, I'm not a mentor. I'm not a mentor. I don't think I could be because of the fact that I feel like for me it'd be so weird if another 15-year-old was telling me, oh, like, I feel like it'd be really weird if a 15-year-old was telling me, you know, whatever a mentor would tell them. I don't think I have enough experience to do that.
I think that you would be an amazing mentor at school.
Thank you.
Explain to me, obviously you went through all this, and I've known you for a few years now, so I always knew that you had the most amazing singing voice. So before I ask you questions, can we hear you sing a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So good.
Hopefully today's not like my bad singing day, because you have those days where you just can't sing or do anything. Okay. I'll sing one last time since I'm. Okay, I'll sing one last time. Maybe put the volume up. So one last time, I need to be the one who takes you home. One more time, I promise after that I'll let you go. But don't care if you get hurt in your heart. I really care to wake up in my arms. One last time, I need to be the one who takes you home.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Oh, I had shivers, honestly. I thought that was absolutely incredible.
Thank you, thank you.
So when you were singing, did you ever think that you were actually going to one day go and apply for example, British Got Talent? Was this like your ambition?
I swear, I actually did not. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if this is being recorded right now. Like,
yeah, this whole Zoom is being recorded.
Okay, well, last year I went to, I was at school and my friend was like, oh, I got tickets for Britain's Got Talent, who wants to come with me and watch it? And I was like, oh my God, me, I love Britain's Got Talent. Like, I used to watch it a lot as a child. And so I went with her, just me and her, we went, and her mom. And oh my gosh, we were crazy. She was like describing to me like everything that was going on, and we were just like laughing, and like we were just, I don't know, we were dancing when the music was playing. We were just insane. And then I don't know, and then this happened. And she literally, we were on the call the other day, and she was like, Sirine, what is going on? Why are you on Britain's Got Talent? We were on it like literally last year. How is this possible? And honestly, like, thinking about it right now, it still shocks me that only last year I went to watch it, and I never, ever thought that I'd sing on Britain's Got Talent.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does it feel? How did it feel getting on that stage? Were you really nervous? Were you composed? How were the hosts? I mean, just explain the whole process, because there might be people who have got similar talents to you but are too scared to even take that approach. How was the experience?
Trust me, if I can do it, anyone can do it. You don't understand. I basically have stage fright. Like, Oh my God, it was horrible. Basically just before I went on stage, I was with my dad and I recorded it because I was like, oh, I want to see my reaction after. And I don't have the video with me, but like I wish I could show it. But it was literally, I was talking to the camera and I was like, my voice was shaking so much. I could barely get my words out because I was shaking so much. My hands were shaking, and my dad was literally like, "Oh my God, soon you're on now," and I was like, "No, it is." Like I literally was gonna cry, yeah. And I went on stage and I didn't know what to say. I thought that I would freeze up and everything, and I do this thing, I think it comes from old habits, but I usually, like for example, when I'm doing something, I have to look at it. Like if I'm doing my makeup, I have to look into the mirror. If I'm on my phone, I have to look at my phone. So when I was walking on stage, I was looking at the audience and oh gosh, because I can't see the audience. I can only hear them, and it was so loud, and it was really, really scary. So if anyone can do it, I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it, honestly.
Oh, yeah, you were amazing. And when you got into it and you heard the audience clap and obviously some of the famous faces saying, "Oh my goodness, wow, amazing." How did that make you feel?
Um, I can only use the same word over and over again, shell shocked, because I mean, it's like, as I said, I've watched Britain's Got Talent. Like me and my brother used to watch it on YouTube. I used to watch it on YouTube all the time, and like meeting Simon Cowell and David Walliams and all these people, it's just like another thing. Like going on stage and singing to people is one thing, and meeting people who you've kind of seen on screen your whole life, but they don't know you until that moment, is like a different thing. It's completely different. And yeah, I'm still shocked. I'm like thinking about it right now. I'm like, did that actually happen?
Oh, it did. It definitely did. Are you confident that you're gonna smash it and you're gonna win?
Oh, I really doubt, but thank you.
Okay, now let me go to the questions because we've got so many questions.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So Emily wants to know, so hi Sirine, your story is amazing and inspiring. What would you say is your plan for the next 10 years?
Emily, if I knew, I'd be planning it right now. I'm the kind of person who would like plan ahead of time, because 10 years ago, like thinking about it, because as I said, so yeah, thinking back on it, 10 years ago I was 5, right? And that's when I lost my sight, and I was so different back then to how I am right now. I was a drama queen. I still am a drama queen, to be honest. But I was kind of just, yeah, 10 years, that's actually a long time. I couldn't even tell you next year. I don't know. I have no idea.
You're going to be in Hollywood and you're going to
I really doubt it.
Donna, and you're going to have an entourage of people behind
you. Entourage, limousine, everything. Definitely not.
Okay, so we got another question from, we're trying to pronounce this name correctly, Sirine Tumba. Whose idea was it for you to apply to go on Britain's Got Talent?
Well, it wasn't kind of like, it was kind of, I don't really know whose idea it was. It was kind of just a mixture of everyone. I didn't really apply as much. It was more like, I watched it last year, and then my parents were like, oh my God, like as a joke, like why don't you like apply? And I applied it as a joke, like I didn't think they'd come back or anything. And I applied, and I was like, yeah, they came back to me the same week as like everything like came crashing down in one sense. And yeah, that was crazy. That was honestly, I think last year was kind of the craziest time of my life. So I guess it was mine, but also encouraged by my parents, but also encouraged by last year.
But were you ready? Like literally you were on every single newspaper, you were on all the television screens, everybody wanted to...
You know what, so basically my brother Zayn, he cried, and there was this like article about how he cried, and this is just showing how like crazy my family is and how like crazy this all is. He was like, oh my God, I'm on the newspaper, they wrote about how I cried, and he was like jumping like literally for the past 5 hours. I was like, are you okay? Did you have a little sugar? Yeah, so he was, yeah, honest, it's just So
That was just a taste for when you got into the semis. Like, are you prepared to win? Like, literally, your entire life will change. You'll have paparazzi chasing you.
no, not that
Everybody
insane.
want to interview you. Yeah, and we want to be the first. By the way, when you win, we want to be the first for you to come and speak to us. Make that as a promise.
Well, let's see what happens. But yeah, it was crazy. All the news, yeah, just oh my gosh. That's the only thing I can say. I just keep saying oh my gosh, or like repeatedly.
Oh, bless you. Okay, so there's another question. Do you think age is linked to wisdom?
Not at all. I don't think so. I think what it is that, I mean, a man can be 6 years old and, you know, I feel like, I mean, I don't really know that many 6-year-olds, but I mean, I think it really depends on how many obstacles you've had to face. Like, I bet there are 10-year-olds out there who are like so much more wiser than someone who's like 100, for example, because of the challenges they've had to face throughout their life. And so I don't think age is linked with wisdom whatsoever. It's about the journey.
So do you think age is do you think when you're older you're going to look back and be a lot wiser than you are now, or do you think you're quite clued up now because of everything that you've experienced?
I don't think I am wise right now. I think I just speak my experiences. I'm still learning. I'm a teenager. I'm learning. I make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm learning. I learn from my mistakes. I'm making mistakes every single day, every day. And yeah, in 30 years time, in 10 years time, I'd like to think that I'd be more experienced and more understanding of, and more aware of who I've become, and yeah, because I'm still finding myself. Everyone is still finding themselves. You learn, you make mistakes every day, because if you don't, then I mean that quote, if you don't make mistakes, you're not human. And like I really agree with that, because no one is perfect, and it's just getting more cheesy. I need to stop, but it's true. It's true. So
do you know do you have a 5-year plan?
I don't have any plan. I have no plan. I'm going day by day. I'm taking step by step. I'm literally walking blindly. I don't know.
Question. I'm sure you've thought about this. One of our questions is, would you do a duet? And if you would, who would be your dream duet? You must have thought about that one.
Yeah, but the thing with that question, I love that question. The thing with that question is that I kind of like to do a duet with anybody or anyone. I love singing. I can do it with Ariana Grande. I'll do it with Andrea Bocelli, Celine Dion. The kind of music I like is kind of underrated, so and popular, and I'd like to do it with anybody, honestly. I obviously, like, I keep going on about, I sang an Ariana Grande song, so obviously Ariana Grande, but also people like Andrea Bocelli. He's also blind, so and I've met him before, and he's so amazing. So
Andrea Bocelli
would be incredible.
Did you say Andrea Bocelli?
Andrea Bocelli, yes.
Oh, I absolutely love him, but I had no idea that he was blind. Oh my goodness.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't. Duh. I absolutely love him.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I don't think he focuses much on his blindness, so I like that. So
no, it's nobody really talks about that, do they? It's just about his singing, and his singing
voice, because his voice is so incredible.
yeah, absolutely. So who inspires you in music? I mean, are there any names that you absolutely are inspired by, their lyrics or their sound or their music? Is there anyone that you've looked up to think, one day I'd love to even, be something like this person?
I think over time it's kind of evolved. Like at 5, I wanted to be a princess. I wanted to sing like a princess. I wanted to be like Cinderella. And then over time, like Ariana Grande, of course, Selena Gomez, and then now I kind of just, I don't exactly want to be anyone. I want to do my own thing. I want to kind of do original things, unique things, and Yeah, so I don't really aspire to be anybody in particular, but there are so many inspirational people out there who I'd like to be like.
And you have you had anyone come up to you and say, "You're so inspirational. I want to be just like you"? And how did
Um,
you feel?
I I don't really know. I don't really know. People have said that I think I don't actually know. Um, but yeah, I feel like everyone should aspire to be themselves. They're the best version of themselves.
So how do you think people describe you now? How do your closest friends describe you? Do they see you as the same Sirine they've known for years, or do they now see you as someone completely different?
One thing that everyone seems to mention is that I laugh too much. I swear, when I'm at school or something, I've always got a smile on my face because what is the point of being sad and stressed and everything? Like people, like I have obviously challenges every day, but why see them as a challenge? So I think just all of them kind of just say that I smile too much. I don't really know. I don't really ask my friends, oh, what do you see me as? Like, I don't really have that kind of conversation with them.
Oh, bless you.
My brother, I think to my brother I'd be annoying. But that's the only thing I know.
Bless. Okay, so another question is, have you ever had any vocal training prior to the semi-finals?
I am having vocal training now, yes. Before the live shows, I didn't have any vocal training. As I said, like I literally, um, I chose that song the night before I went on stage. So that's also another reason why I was so nervous.
Oh, brilliant. Um, can you give us a clue, or are you allowed to tell us what you'll be singing in the semi-finals?
I'm not allowed to say specifically, but it's a song that I can relate to and I feel like everyone can relate to. I want to sing that kind of song. I don't want to sing a song that no one can relate to and it's about love or something. It's not about love whatsoever. It's about, I guess, loving yourself, but not really so much as that. It's more about um, like the singer understanding that everyone's going through difficulties. They still are, but you one of the part there's a lyric in it and it's like I will lead you through the light and that kind of thing. So that's the kind of message I want to give out.
Oh, brilliant. That sounds amazing. I'm so excited. Have you got any idea when it's going to happen? Because
It's actually pre-recorded, so I'm gonna go sing in 3 weeks. And then it's gonna be, oh my gosh, I'm very nervous, by the way.
I know you will.
Yeah, seeing me on screen, I feel like people would just see me on screen. They wouldn't understand that my heart was racing. Oh my gosh, yes, I was very nervous. And I think in the semifinals, I'll be even more nervous than I was in in the first stage, which is saying a lot because I was very, 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 very nervous in the first stage.
So, once you go to the semis and then I think you'll go to the finals, and I think
You have so much faith in me. I need this faith in myself.
Are you ready for the amount of offers and opportunities that are going to come your way? And is there anything that you'll never say no to?
I say no to the things that I feel like would limit me in some way. So I'll take every opportunity I get because I did say in my performance audition, I did say that because I was very nervous and the judges recognized that and they did ask like, why are you very nervous? And I said because this is such a massive opportunity and I don't want to waste it. I think those were my exact words. I can't remember, but I'll take every opportunity I get and I won't waste it and I'll make the most of it.
Oh, bless you.
So I'm having opportunities right now. Like this is an opportunity.
And we're really honored that you came on.
I'm so glad I did.
Another question is, what would you suggest to anyone who's actually facing challenges right now, especially someone of your age group?
I would say I can't make decisions for anybody because I don't know enough and I'm not wise enough. But what I would say is that I think what helped me is that I understood that I'm not the only one who's going through problems. Everyone's going through challenges. You're gonna have down and up days, as I said. Like, I'm smiling right now, and I'm smiling most of the time, but I have days where I just feel like not doing anything. Like, I feel like I can't sing. I feel like I can't do anything. So I think everyone's going through difficulties. I'm not a spokesman for anybody. I'm not a spokesperson for anybody. But I would just say that the challenges you face is what makes you, is what makes you you. Had I not had challenges in my life, I definitely would not be on this right now.
That is such a good mantra to go away with. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this one last question. And this is a I really like this question. So one of our viewers.
I love all the questions. I swear everyone's asked such amazing questions.
Bless you. So it's what is the one main thing you want our young listeners to go away with today, and how would you think that would impact the listeners and the viewers that are watching you today?
That is a very, there are so many things that I want people to go away with, and I think thinking about it. I think what it is that, like, as I said in the previous question, that you're gonna have down days, you're gonna have up days. There are days where you won't every single person has a day where they just don't feel like doing anything, and I think what I would say to that is that just keep going, because I mean, it's with everything. There are people out there who would work for something for years and years and years and years, and they wouldn't see any results, but it'll eventually come, because determination and consistency is what makes something happen. And I think that's what I would say. Like, I don't have any specific quotes or anything. I have a motivation app where I read quotes and every day, which motivates me so much. Especially now, because everyone's in quarantine, and especially this is like a really hard time for everyone. So I think just have that little motivation every day, because it really does make a difference in your life.
Fantastic. You are absolutely amazing. I'm going to hand over to Inab now. And then right at the end, and it's up to you, after Inab's said her last introduction, we'd love to hear you sing again. Sing us out.
Yeah, should I sing again? Okay, yeah.
Should we sing out right at the end after Inab's going to say a few words, and then Inab will give you the heads up, and then you can sing us out.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much, Sirine. That was really inspiring and so nice to listen to as well.
Thank you.
So thank you everyone for joining us today, and a big thank you to our supporting partners, Inspiring Girls, Redbridge Council and the Foresight Society. We hope you can join us again next Friday at 11 AM when we'll be joined by the Deputy Chief Mission of the US Embassy in London. Joining details will be posted on our website and social media very soon. And until then, after our performance, goodbye. Thank you, Sirine.
Thank you.
Sirine?
Yes.
Love to hear you sing us out.
Okay, I will. I'm just thinking of a song. When
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
That's great, Sirine. So beautiful to hear.
Thank you. Oh, that was amazing.
And I think that was the best song for us to finish on. I love the message in that song.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you so much for your wisdom. It's been amazing to listen to.
Thank you.
Brilliant. We're going to be switching off now, Sirine, so thank you so much and we'll be in touch.